Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to the Men Save Your Marriage show. My name is Terry. I'm your host. I did an autopsy on my failed marriage, and now I use the lessons that I learned to coach other men on how to save their marriage before it fails. I'm going to share with you the things I wish someone would have shared with me before my marriage failed. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hello, gentlemen, and welcome back. This is Terry. I'm your host, and this is the Men Save Your Marriage show. You just heard the bell, and that means, and if you're hearing this episode, it means you are still in the ring, still fighting, still leading, still showing up, even when it feels like she's emotionally gone. This is episode 49, and this is about tactical presence, how to lead with words when she is cold or closed off. This is episode 3 of the marriage missions, and this one is a battle, because today we're talking about those cold, quiet, disconnected moments. You know the ones. She's withdrawn, or she's short. She gives you nothing. You feel like every attempt to reach her is either ignored or deflected. And let's be real, it makes you want to give up. Because how do you lead a woman who isn't letting you in? Well, the answer is tactical presence. Today, I'm going to teach you how to show up as a calm, grounded, intentional man when everything in you wants to retreat or to react. We're going to cover a few things. What's actually happening when she goes cold, how to speak into silence without pressuring her, and how to lead the atmosphere of your marriage when she won't engage. So let's get to work. Point number 1. Her coldness isn't always about you, but it is your responsibility. Let's set the record straight. When your wife goes cold, it doesn't always mean she's punishing you. It doesn't mean she hates you, and it definitely doesn't mean your effort is worthless. But it does mean that something is wrong. The masculine mistake is thinking that if she's not responding, I'll just stop trying. We've all been there. I made that mistake over and over and over again in my marriage. But that's not leadership, guys. That is retreat. So let's reframe her coldness. It's not rejection, it is protection. Protection from disappointment. She's protecting herself from disappointment, or protection from emotional overwhelm, or protection from patterns that she still fears that you haven't broken. See, you don't fix that by trying harder. You don't even fix that by doing more. You fix it by showing up with calm consistency. That is tactical presence. Not loud. It's not needy. It's not walking on eggshells. It's just being unshakable. It sounds sort of like this. Here's 3 examples. Hey, I know you're going through a lot. I'm not asking you to talk. Just know that I'm here. Or, I'm not going to force anything, but I'm not going to disappear either. That's just a short little sentence, but that is a powerful sentence. I'm not going to force anything, but I'm not going to disappear either. In other words, I'm here, right? Or here's the third one. A card that says, I can't control the distance between us, but I will keep showing up because you matter. That's powerful. That is very powerful. And that's a message she's not used to hearing from you. That's leadership, and she's not used to or accustomed to seeing it. And you're going to have to be honest with yourself. There's been plenty of times where you didn't exhibit this kind of leadership. And I get it. You're working on yourself. You're growing. You're maturing. You're thinking about how it looks for you to create the culture and to set the culture in your home. But it's still new. This is leadership that she's not used to seeing. And over time, that presence speaks louder than any perfect words ever could. So don't stop. Keep showing up. Keep sticking in there. And keep leading with presence. All right, point 2. Stop matching her mood and start mastering yours. This is where most men fail. See, she's cold, he gets colder. She's quiet, he starts stonewalling. She's emotionally distant, so what does he do? He numbs out, he checks out, or he lashes out. That's not presence, gentlemen. That is codependence. You've got to stop matching her and start mastering yourself. Because here's the truth. Your presence isn't tested when she's warm. It's tested when she's withholding. But if you can stay grounded when she's frustrated, if you can be kind when she's short and not kind with you, if you can stay intentional when she is disengaged, you become undeniable. You are unstoppable. Now, this doesn't mean that you're being a doormat. This doesn't mean begging for attention. This means choosing your posture regardless of hers. This is tactical presence. So how do you get there? Well, first of all, you anchor your emotions to your mission. You're not here for a reaction. You're here to lead. Then you create small strategic moments that don't require her participation. You leave her a card, send her a short note, maybe it's a text, offer help without comment. And then you stop asking for reassurance. She may not give you reassurance. Lead anyway. Did you hear me? Lead anyway. This is the emotional backbone of a man who's becoming undeniable. You're no longer swayed by her mood. You're not waiting for her to go first. You're the thermostat, not the thermometer. That's where you need to be. You set the temperature. You set the mood. You set the culture. That means you become the thermostat, not the thermometer, and you don't let your frame of mind be swayed regardless of what you're confronted with. All right. Now, before we move on to point 3, I've said this a few days in several episodes, and I want to reiterate this. If you're serious about saving your marriage, start your day with something that's actually going to help. I send one short, powerful email every morning. Real talk, no fluff, a daily challenge to help you lead better, love stronger, and become the man your family needs. If it hits, carry it with you throughout the day and you got something new to focus on. And if it doesn't apply to you for today, delete it and move on, show up tomorrow. Guys, go right now to mensaveyourmarriage.com and get on the email list. These are valuable little nuggets, almost like a hand grenade to start your morning, to light you up, to encourage you, to challenge you, to help you become a better leader. And not just in marriage, in work, in your relationships, but in your friendships, in your career. So go to mensaveyourmarriage.com and get on the email list. Do it now. All right, enough of that. On to point 3. Words don't have to be loud, but they have to be well timed. Let's get surgical here. When she's cold to you, it is tempting to throw everything at her. Big speeches, emotional conversations, endless questions like, are you okay? What's wrong? What's going on, right? But that's not leadership. All of that comes across as pressure. And pressure in a cold season between the two of you creates shutdown, not connection. So what do? You lead with timing, not volume. You say less, but you say it with precision. So here's a new framework for you. You use short, grounded statements that acknowledge the truth. As an example, I feel the distance between us, but I'm not going anywhere. Or you say something like, I know this season is heavy. I just want you to know I'm still here, still leading, still showing up. That is short, grounded statements that acknowledge the truth. That's number 1 in the framework. And by the way, this framework can be found in the show notes to this episode. Number 2, you deliver something tangible that reinforces your emotional leadership. Now, this is where the connection cards that I have built and that I've been telling you about come in. Why? Because they allow you to say what matters without triggering a defensive wall. How valuable is that you can deliver something to her that says what matters without triggering her defenses? She can read it on her own. She can reread it later. She can receive it in a low-pressure way. You see, that's tactical. Now we're surgical with solving some of these problems, and we're surgical about how you continue to show up and lead. This is not about emotional fireworks. It's about emotional steadiness. Think of it like a flare on a dark night. A few words on a piece of paper says, I'm still here. I still care. I'm still fighting. Even if she doesn't respond, that flare was seen. And over time, she starts to believe it wasn't just a phase, it's who you've become. This, gentlemen, is the framework for how you lead with timing and not volume. All right. This is how warriors lead cold seasons. You got to understand this. They're calm, they're steady, they're intentional, and they're unmoved. You don't need her to be warm for you to be present. You don't need her to validate you to be grounded. You don't need her to open up before you start showing up. You are the thermostat and not the thermometer. This week's marriage mission is clear with this episode. Do not match her mood, master your own. Deliver a pre-built moment of connection. As an example, that's what the connection cards are for, but you're delivering it with zero pressure. Now you're being surgical. Show up with presence, not performance. If you don't have the arsenal yet, guys, go to marriagearsenal.com. You're going to find this is a book with a year's supply of the right words, the right moments, and you become the right man. You are surgical. You are leading. You've mastered your mood. This is a marriage mission that you can embark on to save your marriage. Next week, we tackle one of the most powerful topics in this whole series, rebuilding trust. That's where it starts getting real. So don't miss the next episode. And as final thoughts, brothers, this season that you're going through, it isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's preparing you to lead with emotional command, not just emotional hope. You're building presence in the cold. And that kind of leadership, guys, that changes everything. One moment at a time, one card, one note at a time, one small gesture at a time, and one calm word at a time. You are being surgical, and this is tactical presence. This is your mission. Now, go lead it in your home. I thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you being here today, and I look forward to you hearing the next episode as we continue to grow and save your marriage and become better leaders. As always, I hope you have a great day. I hope you take this to heart and begin working on yourself and working on how you show up in the marriage. And finally, don't forget, marriagearsenal.com. Get your arsenal loaded today so you've got the tools you need to be surgical, to be in command, to control your mood, and to set the culture in your home. That's marriagearsenal.com. I thank you, fellas. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you and talking to you in the next episode. In the meantime, go out and make it a great day. Take care.